We lurched about, picking up roll mats and empty water bottles, and putting them down again, to go and stand in the bow, gazing at a hazy horizon. Derek climbed the mast. I don't know how much time passed, all I was doing was beaming at everybody in turn. Then we heard Derek shout, "Land ho!" I still couldn't see a thing, but we all began to cheer. "Do it again for the camera," said Mr. Al Jazeera. "Land ho," shouted Derek again. Didn't quite get that. Land. I looked for Hanny, Mr. Ramadan, hoping for the sake of Derek's voice that he was filming too. But Mr. Ramadan was collapsed in the lifeboat, sobbing out a lifetime of Palestinian tears. And then I could see buildings, I really could, and then I could see a boat. We'd heard the fisherman had come out in the morning hoping to meet us, but had gone back when Israeli ships shot at them as usual. This yellow boat had a handful of flag-waving men in it, and as soon as it reached us, we spotted a wildly lurching kayak behind it, powered by a wildly lurching young man, and then another boat overflowing with cheering women, as well as men, waving flags and almost spilling into the sea. And then we were surrounded, wooden boats dipping and turning, and not quite crashing into each other as they circled us, carrying us into port on a wave of jubilation. Osama had promised us thousands waiting on the beach, but Osama thinks big, and I never quite understood what the reality would look like. It really was thousands shouting, waving, and attempting to board our boats and shake our hands. Cameras were everywhere, held by smiling people who no doubt were supposed to be asking the usual daft questions like, "How do you feel to be here?" but who kept interrupting themselves to repeat, "Alan was Alan. Welcome to Gaza. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, thank you." Now the world knows anyone can try to come to help us, if they wish to try. Quickly overwhelmed, I retreated below deck, and hid until security people came to extract us, rushing us through the rocking crowds like film stars, throwing us into a minibus, and taking us along the shore to a 5-star hotel, that they seemed to feel was the least they could do, or more to the point the safest place for these first crazy days. Here, in a restaurant overlooking crumbling shacks on the beach, we exchanged greetings with our hosts in such a daze that I still don't know most of their names. But the important thing was we had all of them. Every group with which we'd worked was united in their support of our accomplishment. The Popular Committee Against the Siege and the International Campaign to End the Siege on Gaza, the Gaza Medical Relief Society folks, the Gaza Community Mental Health Program, and other non-partisan groups, Hamas and Fatah Arabs, and PFLP were present. Hugh Wader even got a congratulatory call from Mahmoud Abbas, the head of government in the West Bank, not particularly legitimate, but the only one the United States talks to. For at least an hour or two, we had achieved Palestinian national unity. The next day, just as I thought the dreamlike quality of things might at least start to disperse, some of my comrades came back from an unofficial lunch with the Hamas Prime Minister. Many of us chose not to attend to remain clearly politically separate from any faction. My comrades announced that we would be given Palestinian citizenship. And for the first time I began to cry. Dr. Bill's account of the arrival reception. All 44 of us are taken to the El Dira Hotel and are assigned rooms. I'm advised by fellow passengers who are fluent in Arabic that maybe I should take off the green sash, which was given to me by the elderly lady on the shore, since it promotes Hamas. I must confess that I don't know enough Arabic to realize this. Free Gaza movement is neutral when it comes to taking sides in internal Palestinian political matters. Our intention is simply to provide international solidarity with the besieged people of Gaza. It is up to the people of Gaza and the rest of Palestine to work out their internal political differences between themselves. Still, Hamas is now the dominant political power in Gaza, so it becomes necessary to interact with Hamas on multiple levels, just as it would be if another Palestinian political party were to be the dominant power there. Our baggage arrives later, taken off the two boats by the police, after we had negotiated the chaos of dense and giant crowds in the marina. The 2 bags I stowed on the Liberty full of office pharmaceuticals from Dr. Papadopoulos and from Mushir are missing. I will have to get back to the boats in the next few days to find them. After settling in, we are hosted for a dinner reception out on the hotel veranda overlooking the beach. We can see our boats docked to the south about a half a kilometer away. Mr. Cowdery is the chairman of Popular Committee Against the Siege and a member of the Palestinian Legislative Council. He heads one of two local groups in Gaza here to formally greet us. Members of other political factions, Fatah and others, are also among the crowd. The board members of the Palestinian International Campaign to End the Siege on Gaza are also here to formally greet us. Dr. Riyad Seraj, Dr. Mona Relferrer and Raja Sarani are here, along with members of their staff and hundreds of others. They represent non-partisan, civil society movements largely consisting of non-governmental organizations, NGOs. There are also media and cameras all around. We are being broadcast all throughout the world, except among the corporate networks in the USA, who are largely censoring this event. As for the breaking of the 41-year-old siege by the Sea of Gaza, they don't want Americans to ask why such a cruel siege has been in effect for so long. I first met Dr. Riyad Seraj back in 1985. He has been founder and chairman of Gaza Community Mental Health Program for over 30 years and has been instrumental in the development of mental health services in the Gaza Strip. He is also a writer and internationally recognized human rights activist. He has the reputation of being a non-partisan and pragmatic community leader in Gaza. Dr. Mona Relferrer wears many hats. She is a physician by trade and a human and women's rights activist by practice. She is currently the chair of Gaza Red Crescent, but has also worked with Al-Orda Hospital in Jabalia refugee camp and Union of Health Workers Committee. Raja Sarani is probably the Gaza Strip's most prominent human rights lawyer. He is head of Palestinian Center for Human Rights. We talk out on the veranda at El Daira Hotel until late into the night. Chapter 6. The Lay of the Land in Gaza.